we have Celo coming on next. I see we have the team ready to go, so I'll bring them in and they'll give you some of the latest updates on Celo.
So welcome everybody. My name's Tim Morton. I'm a partner at C Labs, where I co-lead engineering on the Celo protocol.
Hi, and my name is Sochi Cazador. I'm a partner at C Labs, where I lead the ecosystem growth of the Celo protocol. So Celo's mission is to build an open financial system that creates conditions of prosperity for all. This is a mission that deeply resonates with me. My grandparents were Mexican migrant farm workers, and I have seen firsthand how access to basic financial tools can change lives. Tim and I are going to talk about the past 12 months of Celo, where the project is now, and what the next 12 months might bring. So I'd like to start by sharing a story. This is Rosa. I met her last year during a research trip to Oaxaca, Mexico. She lives in a small village. She's a mother and an artisan. She designed the beautiful shirt that she is wearing. Rosa's husband is working in the United States so that he could provide a better future for his family. Last year, Rosa's mother-in-law unfortunately fell ill, and they needed money to pay for medical expenses. So her husband wired the funds via the traditional route, and unfortunately the funds were sent to the village with the same name, but in a different state. So Rosa and her family had to wait a week before they could access the funds at a time when they needed it most. Rosa is not alone. She's one of the 1.7 billion people in the world that are unbanked today.
Cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what Celo is. Celo is a mobile-first digital currency. It leverages the growing prevalence of smartphones to provide simple, fast, straightforward access to financial tools. So the Celo wallet lets anyone with an Android or iOS device make fast, secure, stable value digital payments anywhere using just a mobile phone. But to get to this point, like, a lot has had to be done under the hood of the various layers beneath that. So starting at the bottom where we see the Celo protocol, the Celo blockchain is actually a protocol based off of Ethereum, but using a BFT-based proof of stake mechanism. It's fully EVM compatible. It includes synchronization methods optimized for mobile devices, thereby making Celo orders of magnitude faster to connect to than other blockchains. On top of that, there are a few things. So first, a lightweight identity protocol maps sorted hashes of phone numbers to public keys. So that makes it possible for anyone with a mobile phone to send and receive digital currencies to anyone else just using their phone number. An on-chain reserve with a Uniswap-like stability mechanism supports a family of stablecoins that allows users to transact in values that they understand and without volatility. The blockchain also supports paying for low transaction fees in stable currencies, which enables a much simplified user experience. Finally, building a new financial system means like communities having the tools to build the services that are most important to them. And Celo's SDK makes it easy to connect mobile apps into the Celo wallet and then build new services on top of the Celo blockchain. So yeah, let me switch to the next slide. So yeah, that was the sort of like starting vision, and the last 12 months has been about turning this vision into reality, turning like these raw ingredients into like a dish that's ready to serve. So as the Celo protocol and wallet were underway, the needs and priorities of users were always front of mind. I think one of the big things which is very important to the people who work on Celo is that while we are obviously doing a lot of work up and down the technology stack, we are primarily aiming to solve real problems for real users. And with that in mind, like, we needed to make sure that we understood some of the challenges and concerns that that folks had in this area. So to involve the user community in the process of building Celo, C Labs itself has operated pilots, I think now in 9 different countries, from Argentina, Tanzania, Colombia, the Philippines, Kenya. Sochi's going to talk a little about some of those later. And they range from like a handful of participants through to hundreds of participants. So like very, very early on, students in Buenos Aires were able to purchase empanadas with prototype Celo dollars. And we learned a lot from that whole process. The other, I guess the next major step on this journey was the launch of the Alfajores developer testnet and the first iteration of the Celo SDK. So that was last August, and this really provided a platform and tooling to make development on top of Celo easy. And since then, we have seen like an incredible growth in like the ecosystem of projects. Several hundred different projects are actually now underway on Celo, and so she's going to talk a little bit more about that later as well. As the software stack like became more mature and we were ready to put it out there and harden it, we launched the Great Celo Stakeoff, which is a validator challenge, a competition to help validators learn more about Celo and its proof of stake mechanism, and to just improve the operational readiness of the network and its validators. The response was definitely overwhelming. We had 100 teams participate over an 80-day challenge. Security consultants led audits for 56 teams, I think, with Celo. I think Celo was the first network to reconduct security audits at the testnet phase. The top 70 teams won Mainnet Celo Gold, and they went on to like relaunch Baklava, a new testnet entirely driven by like community validators. So now we're at this really interesting stage where the network is just getting off the ground. The community is putting the final touches to the mainnet release, and this slide sort of shows some of the steps that's been involved in that. So on 4/22 on Earth Day, a number of the winning Stakeoff teams cooperated to validate the first block on release candidate 1. This has now grown, I think, to 95 validators with like 37 different entities controlling that 2/3 quorum. So like significantly more decentralized than a number of other like proof of stake networks there. Over the sort of following weeks, the community voted on a series of like governance proposals to begin activating core parts of the system. So from voter rewards through to validator elections. And with the proposal passing to enable transfers of Celo Gold, the community essentially turned release candidate 1 into mainnet. And so right now we're at the state where a number of exchanges are beginning to list Celo Gold, and that means that we are able to deploy oracles to bring a price feed onto the network, which means we're able to activate the stability mechanism to make the Celo dollar live. And we envisage that this will happen like within the next weeks, so a number of weeks out. So all of this is like a progress happening at a very fast pace. I wanted to sort of like look forward and think through, to sort of share with you some of my thoughts on like what is going to be happening in the next 12 months. Obviously launching mainnet is only really the start of the journey, and what we're trying to do in the next 12 months is really kindle the flames of a network that has broad user adoption. The first part of that obviously is really to like launch and grow the Celo wallet. So once we have, once in a few weeks' time, we're in this position where we have like this fully functional protocol out there, the wallet is like the next step on that. I think we'll probably see the wallet iterate around focusing on simplicity, making the end user experience resonate really strongly with like target users, probably with like initially technical users in Celo's target markets, people who have some experience of mobile money or crypto, and who have a desire to save and send money instantly and want to do something that that's like the key proposition. I see a lot of work as well going into making it even easier to translate an idea for an app into something that leverages Celo, both for small teams and for large organizations. This means like building a lot of educational materials and tutorials. One project I'm really interested and excited by is a client that implements Coinbase's Rosetta API to make integrating exchanges, custody solutions, and other protocol tools really easy. On the protocol side, I think we'll see trustless cross-chain bridges. So especially for ETH and Bitcoin as a step towards making the Celo reserve fully decentralized. At present, the reserve comprises a decentralized portion of Celo Gold, as well as a basket of crypto assets, which are traded at exchanges. And so this bridging work is likely to lean heavily on Plumo, which is a ZK Snark-based scheme that we have built to enable like Celo's light client protocol. So the way that mobile devices can securely sync with the network while using very little data and bandwidth. Yeah, so Celo also includes a mechanism to reward full node operators that serve light clients, a problem in other networks where there isn't necessarily clear incentives there. So that's necessary because we anticipate, like, as the user base grows, it's been very important to have a significant network of full nodes to service all of those mobile devices. And then obviously like transaction throughput and validated count. While Celo already supports like higher throughput and faster finality than many blockchains, there are definitely a ton of opportunities to drive throughput towards what I feel is a realistic goal of rates comparable with Visas in the order of like thousands of transactions a second. So these range from like EVM optimizations, consensus changes, sharding, reducing block time. So a variety of things from like small through to very significant. There's also going to be, I imagine, a drive to support more validators. The backlever testnet ran smoothly with 120 validators. I see mainnet adopting that in the coming months. Celo already uses BLS signature aggregation, which reduces the overhead of having more block signers. And work is also continuing towards BF-Tree, a BFT-based implementation of essentially permissionless validators that could enable Celo to eventually scale to thousands of validating nodes. Yeah, finally, there's a lot of interest throughout the community in further transaction privacy, and I suspect we'll see some strong collaboration around research to enable that in a light client-friendly fashion. So yeah, I'm going to hand over to So to talk about the community side of things.
Yes, so over the past year, we've been focused on building the Celo ecosystem. I'm going to share a couple of highlights and then dive into some sections. So we had an oversubscribed CoinList auction that raised 10 million from the community and introduced a diverse set of participants into the ecosystem, close to 4,000 registrations from 132 countries. And we're also seeing 300 plus teams beginning to build on Celo. So if you flip to the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Alliance for Prosperity. So we strongly believe that in order to solve one of the toughest problems, we need to bring together some of the greatest minds to reimagine the future of money. And we believe in the power of bringing people together who are passionate about creating prosperity. Earlier this year, we announced the Alliance for Prosperity. It's a community of mission-aligned organizations that are working together to create this new future. The Alliance includes 75 members, international aid organizations such as Mercy Corps, microfinance organizations such as Grameen, remittance providers such as Beam & Go, carbon offset marketplaces such as Project Ren, education networks such as Blockchain Education Network, and then players like A16Z Crypto and Polychain, and many, many more. I would like to just give an example of one of the projects that the Alliance has been working on. So if we flip to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about a microwork pilot that that one of the team members ran in Kenya with Appen, who is an Alliance member. Appen is building a solution to bring remote work to the Celo platform. During this pilot, we had the pleasure of meeting Lillian, who is 22. She's a nursing student and struggling to find employment. Workers in the pilot, through this exercise, were able to complete a variety of tasks on their phones, such as receipt transcription, logo recognition, and clothing categorization. What we found during this exercise that demand was massive. People were looking for a pretty easy way to earn income so that they could, again, like provide for their families. If we look at some of the results on the next slide, we found is that Celo was faster and more affordable relative to the other options, especially when we think about micropayments that typically, you know, are in that $5 range. So through this pilot, what we discovered and were able to prove was that the Celo participants were able to receive payments almost instantaneously with far fewer fees than some of the existing solutions. I'd also like just to spend a minute or so talking about the Celo Foundation Grants Program. This is an opportunity to have the community involved, provide the building blocks that will help strengthen the Celo protocol, provide more access to the financially underserved, and develop programs to educate and nurture.
Okay, I'm going to presume that we've lost her, and I will.
Please carry on.
I'll carry.
Yeah.
I'll carry on. We have a grants program. We have it is in the second wave. I think the thing that Sochi probably wanted to say, which she told me yesterday, which I didn't know, which is great, that we've had 200 applicants from over 100 countries for this second wave of grants so far, and that to me is like just phenomenal in terms of being able to reach interested teams in our target markets and from a really diverse set of groups. So yeah, please search the Celo Foundation grants and like get in touch if you've got ideas. So yeah, I think to summarize, like Celo as a project really is a movement. We would love you to help Celo however you can build a financial system that creates the conditions for prosperity for everyone, whether you're an entrepreneur and applying for a grants program to build on top of, you have an idea for an app which could improve the livelihoods of people in your community or your area, or whether you are you could operate a full node or a validator and help run Celo's infrastructure, or are interested in contributing to like the core code base, like please get in touch and reach out on those channels. Thank you.
No, that was awesome. Thank you for coming on, Tim and Sochi. Really appreciate it. We have a couple minutes for Q&A here. I guess I'll start off with since Sochi got cut off there for a second. What kind of are there any sort of types of projects that Celo, like the Celo Foundation, is looking to provide grants to start off?
Yeah, no, I think we published a Medium article that goes into a lot of different ideas, but we're really looking at really products and projects that are going to solve some of the world's toughest problems right now. So if we think about what we're facing, how we could help address some of the inequalities and injustices, I think would be like great types of proposals that we think would be perfect for the Celo Foundation Grants Program.
That's fantastic. I love that. Are there any on the technical side, trying getting some like the basic infrastructure tools up and running as well?
Definitely. And Tim can share a little bit more about this. He touched on privacy. And then Tim, would you like to talk a little bit about on the technical side?
Yeah, I mean, so there are lots of things that still need doing. I think, you know, while the core protocol is like, at least the first part of it is like implemented, audited, tested, running live in mainnet and production, there are obviously like a whole range of things we'd love to be able to do there to sort of improve that. A really fertile area is like in building tooling around the protocol itself to help with on-chain governance, to help with validator elections, to make it easier for people to participate in those processes, make it like improve monitoring and management tools for validators. There's a bunch of work, as I mentioned in the roadmap slide, around like finishing out like the vision around full node incentives, so that like we have this permissionless on ramp, so anyone with a like machine under their desk in Kigali can like, and an internet connection, can spin it up and begin to support like connections from local users to access that the network. And so yeah, there's like a ton of different things there.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for the overview on both sides. Yeah, because I know there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot going on, so there's a lot to consider, especially when you're trying to build up a community and definitely an ecosystem around a protocol like this. So just I'd love to know, smart contract platforms or these base layer platforms, definitely very crowded. What have you seen projects come to Celo for? Like what was their reasoning for coming, or how would you kind of say how like Celo is different from some of the other protocols that are out there? What gives it that kind of like that edge?
So I can sort of say from a like technology perspective, we have tried to be laser focused around making it easy to use crypto and without even having to really understand anything about crypto from a smartphone. And really everything that Celo is doing is predicated on the fact that for many people in the world, having a smartphone is something that they do, whereas like the nearest bank is a 30-minute bus ride away, right? And so that smartphone, like from a technology perspective, it's all about making decentralized technologies work really well on smartphones, especially like low-end smartphones with like expensive or like limited data connectivity. And to make that work, we've had to do a whole bunch of work up and down the stack. And so like the technical contributions there, like, starting with Ethereum, but like doing a lot of work at all points in the stack to really make that work is something that I think for folks interested in like building stuff on Celo is really a key proposition, because it's like, this gives us access to a much broader, potentially different market of users and individuals that could benefit from what we're trying to build.
Yeah, and I think just to add on to that, recently had a conversation with an organization that just joined the Alliance for Prosperity, and an announcement is coming soon. But one of the discussion points that we had with them in particular was, just the usage. So it's great that folks have been building these tools, but now really being able to see the usage and see it get to the hands of the people that we're trying to serve. And so being able to talk about the different deployments that we have going on, to see how the strength of the Alliance can come together. We have 3 different Alliance members that are working together on a pilot right now in the Philippines. And so it's just, again, really being able to see some of what the smart contracts and other applications that are being developed actually get into the hands of like some of the folks that need it the most.
No, that's great. I appreciate it. That's definitely been one of the bigger themes. Like we have a lot of this infrastructure is being built up, but how do you really get consumers to get on board? Because there's going to be that layer of difficulty that a lot of people can't get past, and I really appreciate the aspect of the mobile phone, because that's where pretty much everyone's using at all points. It's kind of tough to go towards a laptop at all times. So I think we have one more question. Where can we learn more about the Celo protocol and keep in touch with everything that's going on?
Yeah, you should check out the Celo project website, which is celo.org, and you can find us on Medium. I think we link that through news.celo.org, and also Discord, our Discord servers, chat.celo.org. So yeah, that's a great way to get in touch.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Definitely, we'll keep an eye on what's coming next, because it sounds like Celo dollars around the corner.
Yeah, very, very, very soon.
Yes, that's going to be exciting to see that. Very, very neat design. We don't need to dive too much into the technical side of that, but I know you guys have a bunch of blog posts out there on it. That's very interesting read.
Great.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks
and,
very much.
I hope to talk
Thanks,
soon.
Jason.